Good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. Uh, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kevin Tucker. I promised to do this blog. Initially, it's going to be a 13-week blog. I originally said 12 weeks, but I feel that I should have an introduction about the 12 steps and a little history of the 12 steps and where they were formed and who brought them together. And it's Wednesday, April the 29th, and it's time for my first weekly blog, which will go for 13 weeks. Hopefully, hopefully more along the way. I will endeavor to the best of my ability share my experience on the 12 steps of recovery. Now, I may mention a lot of times Alcoholics Anonymous, AA, but if you're suffering from other addictions, that was my foremost addiction to alcohol and drugs. You can replace the word alcohol with your addiction, like food, sex, whatever the case may be. You can replace the word alcohol with your addiction, and we'll all end up at the same place, hopefully. Um, I will share my experience on the 12 steps with a kind of a Christian angle. I don't want to get too churchy, but I am a Christian and I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And the 12 steps were formerly Christian in nature. As a matter of fact, um, I believe they were God given to Bill and Bob, but originally they came from, well, Sam Shoemaker was originally the founder of the Oxford movement, and he had 6 tenants. But Bill and Bob, Bill Wilson and Bob Smith, the co-founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous, found it necessary for more steps. They took away a couple of the tenants and added their own steps. And what is placed now is a great recovery program, which I believe was God driven. Anyway, as I said, I will share my opinion on an experience. I'm not speaking for any 12-step fellowship. This is merely my opinion and experience. Anyway, that's the disclaimer out of the way, which I will say every week. And hopefully, anyway, I will say that every week, the disclaimer, just to get legalities out of the way. Anyway, a little bit of history, as I said, about the 12 steps. Um, Bill and Bob and the 12 steps were originally part of the Oxford movement, which was a group in the Episcopalian Church, and they had 6 tenants. And when Bill Wilson went into Towns Hospital and recovered miraculously, he met with Sam Shoemaker from time to time and went to the Oxford group from time to time with his friend Ebby. And he got sober. Now, Bill Wilson was a stockbroker, a failing stockbroker, and he tried to do some work in Akron, Ohio, um, to seek out a company, get some information about this company. And he was in a hotel, and there was a bar, and there was a telephone booth at the other end. And he decided, and he went to the bar for a couple of minutes, hummed and hawed. Then he went right back to the telephone, went through all the lists and telephoned quite a number of people, churches basically, to see if they knew someone that he could talk to, a fellow alcoholic, fellow recovering drunk, whatever the case may be. And he finally found someone, Dr. Bob Smith. Now, originally in this meeting, when he went to meet Dr. Bob, as we call him in AA, he was only given 5 minutes. But he sat in his living room talking to Dr. Bob for 3 hours. And from then on came the formation of this incredible fellowship, Alcoholics Anonymous. They wrote with a bunch of people and their advice, and through various edits, they came up with a recovery program. And that was the 12 Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And let me read you the fourth forward to the fourth edition of the book's Rent It Lips, Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm only reading the first paragraph because it puts in place on how many people really are in this incredible fellowship. The fourth edition of Alcoholics Anonymous came off press in November 2001 at the start of the new millennium. Since the third edition was published in 1976, worldwide membership of AA has just about doubled to an estimated 2 million or more, with nearly 100,800 groups meeting in approximately 150 countries around the world. That's huge. And Alcoholics Anonymous isn't the only 12-step fellowship. There's Narcotics Anonymous, there's Overeaters Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous. The list goes on and on, actually. But without Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob's original formation of the 12 Steps of AA, these other groups wouldn't have existed. And believe me, this was very God-centered and God-driven program, I believe. And AA was founded in 1935. Now it's 2015. So that's a long time. That's a long time. 80 years of recovery. Who would have thought it? Out of two people that met together for 3 hours. Luckily, Bob gave him 3 hours. Because if he just gave him 5 minutes, who knows? We may not be talking about this today. I could be still drunk out of my mind. Who knows? Anyway, I'm glad they did. So that's the introduction. My blogs are not going to be really fast, 5 to 10 minutes at the most. So when we come back, Next week, it'll be step one. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, or whatever the case may be, and our lives had become unmanageable. Now, I want you to do some homework before my blog. Yes, homework. See if you can write down stuff of what your lack of power means. Like, for example, you change jobs, or you're laid off, or you're drinking and you don't have any willpower. List the things that you think that you don't have any power over. And on the same token, also, list the things that you think is unmanageable in your life. Maybe you came home after a drunk and your wife or spouse yelled at you. You're on the couch. And when you come home, there's a note on the table saying, "We've moved to my mother's. We can't take this anymore." Or you've been fired from your job. The boss took you into the office and said, "We can't handle this anymore. Your drinking has gone way overboard. We have to leave." Or he may say, on one token, "Or would you like to go somewhere?" It's a group that helps you with your drinking, helps you stop drinking. There may be other things that have become unmanageable. And next week, I will share my experience about this step, what happened to me on this first step a little bit. And hopefully we share some insights. Maybe you can comment on the comment below section on what problems you've had or something, and maybe other people too. Anyway, we'll see you next week for step one. We admitted we were powerless over our addictions, that our lives had become unmanageable. Talk to you next week. Sorry I changed up, but I thought it's about right if I did an introduction on this. Anyway, see you next week, roughly the same time. Talk to you next week, next Wednesday. Bye for now.